Welcome to Tech Talk with WSU Tech, where we dive into all things WSU Tech and highlight the voices within our college community. I'm Dr. Sheree Utash, and today we have the honor of chatting with Greg Schmidt. Greg, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
You know, we always like to kick this off with having you introduce yourself and tell everyone that's listening about what you do and how you serve the mission of the college.
Well, thank you. I'm the FutureMaker director of the FutureMaker Mobile Learning Lab, and we go out to high schools and middle schools, and we talk to students about career technical education and the opportunities they have once they get to high school. Because a lot of people don't know that they have the opportunities to take these programs for free. The state of Kansas has a great program where they offer the opportunity to pay for the tuition for these students to actually take these programs for free. And we're out there promoting that program, not only for us, for WSU Tech, but for the state of Kansas.
Okay, so let's dive into a story.
Okay.
And what's the origin of the FutureMaker Lab, and how was it created?
Well, I heard from somebody that the story actually started with you and Gail Getz meeting together at a restaurant. And you were talking about how can you promote career technical education, not only through high schools, but also through adult education. And you were teaming up together and you came up with this idea. You wrote it all on a napkin. I don't know if the napkin's been saved for
I don't know where it
posterity,
is.
but
We probably left it at the restaurant.
that you wrote it all up on a napkin and the idea was born. And from there, the program grew. And we built it up by adding a few people to help direct it into the right direction. We added equipment, we had a standard program, and we moved from there.
You have far exceeded our expectations. I will just tell you that.
Well, thank you very much.
You have
We
far
worked
exceeded
hard
that.
at it. So
Yeah, I know you do, and far exceeded that. So for people that aren't familiar, can you explain what the FutureMaker really is, what it does, and what it's designed to accomplish?
Okay. Well, we're a community outreach program. We're also a recruiting program for WSU Tech, and we're also a recruiting program for other colleges within the state of Kansas because we do travel throughout the whole state of Kansas. We're a mobile program, so we have a Dodge Ram 3500 pickup truck for those of you that are big on equipment. We pull a trailer, we go out to the schools, we set up our programs within the schools. We run 80-minute sessions. So some schools will run 3 sessions, some schools will run 4, sometimes we'll run 5. And then we would see about 100 students to 120 students a day while we're doing it. And so some of those programs can be our standard program, which is we have 3D augmented reality computers, we have a virtual welder, we have a virtual painter. The students get an opportunity to do hands-on activities. So we're not lecturing at the students and telling them about these programs. We're actually putting the tools in their hands and giving them an opportunity to do this and actually get the feel for what this might actually be as a job. And then at the end, we wrap up with the students and we give them the feedback and the talk about why should they do this? What are the opportunities here? Did you know that these are opportunities? So if we're talking to sophomores, we tell them, you can start signing up now. Talk to the counselor that's right behind you. If you're a junior or senior, take advantage of these programs now and then think about continuing your education at WSU Tech with scholarships. And so we talk to the students about scholarships that are available. We talk about recruiting. And so we wrap all that up to kind of give the students a full flavor of everything.
So when you talk about the creation of it, and literally it was on a napkin, and we went to Department of Commerce to get dollars, and some of our funders that helped launch this thing, which we still have, business and industry partners, which we might talk about in a minute. But when we did that, it was such a novel concept. I mean, nobody had anything like this, right? What I love about it is the awareness that it brings. I was in the hallway the other day talking to a student, and the student said, I asked him, why did you choose WSU Tech? And he goes, I saw the FutureMaker when I was in middle school. He's a high school student.
That's awesome.
I mean, think about that. So think about the profound effect that you're having. But talk about how do students react when you're there? And when you say, did you know that this career existed or how much money you could make if you do this? Because high school, middle school, high school kids love to talk about money,
Mhm.
and they
Yes, they
like to
do.
know what kind of money they're gonna make.
Well, you get a lot of mixed reactions, but I find that a lot of the students are like, "Oh, I don't wanna do this," "I don't wanna do this," and then suddenly you put the welding torch in their hand, and they start welding, and their friends are all looking around and seeing them, and then you talk to them about what their weld looks like, how did they do, and then you go into how much money can you make, what are the opportunities, and then you start seeing the things click inside their head, and then you start hearing things like, "Ooh, this is cool. I could see myself doing this. I could start. I need to go talk to my counselor or my parent."
Mhm.
One of my favorite stories of all time is we were at a school, and it was in rural Kansas, and we had just gotten done with this program. We had sent the students back to their classes, and she left, and she came back, and she says, "Thank you so much, because I want to go tell my parents right now, not only about the opportunities, but about what I want to do with my life." And she wanted to be a welder.
Wow.
And I thought that is really cool. That's what we are trying to do out here. We see 120 students a day. We don't expect all 120 students to jump at this
Sure.
chance. But if we can encourage 5 to 10 students to actually start thinking about it and get
Mhm.
encouraged and go out and do it, that's our goal.
Mhm.
We're really super excited about that.
So let's talk about the growth of the Future Maker Lab since it launched. I mean, I remember the first time that truck rolled out
Mhm.
to go. Talk about the number of visits in the report that you just shared with myself and the leadership team recently.
Mhm.
Talk about the results of just last year and
Oh.
and the growth.
Well, last year we saw 5,600 students, over 5,600 students. We went to 42 schools. So you can imagine that in 42 schools, we're running 4 different sessions. You can see how that adds up. We also saw, uh, I think it was 6,500 or maybe closer to 8,000 student or visitors for events, because we
Mhm.
also do events and community outreach for the college. And so we did 45 events during that time frame. Now, here's the thing I haven't shown you yet is what overall we've seen over 27,000 students since we started this program.
Wow.
Our first high school was Trinity High School back in 2017.
Mhm.
We have seen over 38,000 people for community events starting in 2016. And overall, we've seen over 66,000 people if you combine them all together. And just by going to schools and venues, we've been over close to 650 venues, not only just in Wichita and the surrounding area, but
Mhm.
across the state of
Across the
Kansas.
state because you travel.
We do. We just got back from a trip. We were
Mhm.
in Chanute.
You were in Chanute. Yeah, I heard that this morning
Yeah.
from, James.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were talking about that. So, I mean, that makes my heart so happy. That's huge. What an impact that you're making across the state and bringing awareness because, I'm sure that you hear this all the time. Young kids know what maybe a doctor or a nurse is or, maybe a auto mechanic. They
Mhm.
don't understand the depth and breadth of all the careers that can happen.
Absolutely. I was listening to an NPR article about uh, maybe 3 weeks ago. It was actually a week before Mike Rowe came to visit the college and the Wichita area. He said that for every 5 tradesmen that retire,
Mhm.
only 2 take their place.
Yeah,
And
huge deficit.
I tell these students now, if you're a good mathematician, do the math, because guess what? We need people to fill these positions. We need people to do these jobs, because guess what? Right now, your plumber can show up today. 2 or 3 years from now, it might take a week for that
Mhm.
plumber to show up because we don't
When you
have enough
need them,
people to
you
do
need
that.
them.
Exactly.
So, you guys did something I think just was extraordinary as a pivot during COVID.
Mhm.
Talk about what you did and then how that's continued to grow as well because you guys did a remarkable thing during that period of time.
Well, thank you. We actually, when we pivoted, we went from traveling to trying to figure out what our new identity was going to be during this time period that uncertainty. And so we went digital. And so we started doing our program digitally. So we started offering it to schools as a digital program. But at the same time, we started reaching out to faculty members and administrators within the college and offering our abilities to film things for them. So one of our biggest proponents of the digital program is Amanda Hackert at Vet Nursing.
Mhm,
We have done several promotional videos for her. We're getting ready to do one for um, sheet metal.
mhm,
We're getting ready to do another one. We just did one for mass casualty for nursing.
mhm.
So we are doing a lot of different programs like that. And so we
And you
just
can find those where?
you can actually find them at our YouTube channel for the FutureMaker Mobile Learning Lab. You can go to our website and it will direct you to that, or you can just go to YouTube and look it up as FutureMaker Mobile Learning Lab, and it'll pop up that way. So we,
It's super cool,
mhm.
and what a great pivot it was, and not only did it pivot, but it's withstood, and you're still doing it,
We're still doing it. In
which I
fact,
think is a great piece.
we just added a new position to the FutureMaker Lab, digital content coordinator,
Mhm.
so that that person can focus on not only social media for the website, but also content for the college and for the administration. And so starting. We did some things for like OLL for the college. We did other things where they came and reached out to us, and so they can go through the ticket system
Mhm.
at WSU Tech, look at the FutureMaker Mobile Learning Lab's ticket system, and just ask us to help them out. And we're happy to offer our services.
So now you're on the road, and you have digital content creation.
Yes,
Love it,
yes,
and you didn't lose it after COVID, and I really
no.
appreciate that. What did teachers say after you've had the Future Maker Lab at their schools?
The teachers are they love it. They love the fact that we come in and we talk to the students and we put these tools in their hands. And they just to give you an example, just recently we talked to a teacher who just says, I have had so many students come back and tell me how much they've enjoyed this and that this is the best presentation they've ever had because not only did someone wasn't just lecturing at them, it gave them an opportunity to touch and feel and do a
Mhm,
particular job.
mhm.
So at this particular school, we had done drone simulations. So the students actually flew a drone. We actually had them do virtual welding. Actually had them do aviation coatings and paint. And during that whole time period, we're talking to them about jobs, expectations, what do they have to do, maybe some of the things that are expected of them in the classroom, and things like how well they did.
Mhm.
Like one student on the aviation painter painted the whole motorcycle fender red. It just turned out red. So it was so thick. I said, you know what? We would have pulled this out of production, waited it for dry. You would have had to sandblast that whole thing down again, put it
Mhm.
back in production, and repaint it. You just wasted your time, the company's time, money. So we talked to them about reality a little bit too, and
Mhm.
try to give them a little bit of that while we're doing it.
So I know you, and I know you're creative, and I know you're always looking ahead. What's next for the Future Maker Lab?
Oh, well, we do have a couple things on tap. So we actually have 4 programs that we take out to schools right now. We
Mhm,
have our standard program, we have a drone program, we have a advanced manufacturing program, and we have a robotics program.
mhm.
And we are getting ready to roll out this spring our healthcare
Yeah.
program. And so we're super excited about that. And then this summer we're looking at construction science as another program to add to our.
So if somebody's listening to this and they have never had the Future Maker out, how do they sign up with you?
So the first thing they do is go to the FutureMaker Mobile Learning Lab. We have a booking calendar there so that they can look at the calendar and book us for the events. And then what they can do is once we send the paperwork out to them, we give them an option now. Instead of us just bringing stuff out to
Mhm,
them, we give them an option to choose what program we bring. So if they want us to bring the drone program, we'll bring the drone program. If they want the healthcare program, we'll bring the healthcare program. So now we're giving schools an option, sort of a library of choices that they can now choose without us making those choices for them.
And it keeps it fresh,
It
and it
does.
keeps them wanting you to come back out,
Mhm.
I'm sure.
So, like, to give you an example, we went to one middle school where one year we brought out our standard program, and then the next year we brought out our standard program.
Mhm.
And the students, had repeat students who said, I've already seen this before. I've already done this before. And so now we can sit there and say, last year we brought out this program. How about we bring out this program? That way your students have never seen it. It's
Mhm.
all new, it's all fresh, and it's also inclusive of the college. So we're trying to actually bring more things for the college into our program so that we can talk to the students about them.
That's really cool. Talk about your, business and industry partners that help fund this.
That's great. We just got a wonderful donation from Koch Industries to help us with our robotics program. And so we were able to take that money from that program and purchase robots to actually take out to the schools. So now we have Astro, which you've
I
seen,
saw. I like
and
Astro.
we just purchased two others.
Oh, you did?
Yes,
What'd you
and
get?
they're an upgrade, and
Of
so
Astro?
once yeah, and so
Super.
one's called R2 and the other one's called D2. And so they look the same. So we kind of trade off because Astro went out for 2 years, Astro's been going out to every single school, being touched and worked on by students. And he went to close to 100 schools during that time period. And during that time period, he wore out his hip. So he had hip replacement surgery. So we're trying to find a way to help
So he's in
alleviate
physical
that.
therapy right now.
He is. He is. He's the old man of the group, and so now we take him out. And so, like, we were just recently using him. Astro came out, and then R2 came out, and then we asked the students, "Can you guess which one is a first generation robot and which one's a second generation robot?"
Very cool.
And then you can sit there. They can say, "Oh, this is this," and we say, "Why? Why do you think this is a first generation robot versus a second generation robot?" So we start getting a lot of interaction between the students
Mhm.
and start including them in those things. We've worked with Evergy, so they're helping us with our drone programs. We work with Spirit. We've worked with Textron. We work with um, the Department of Commerce. We've worked with WSU Tech. We've worked with many different companies to help sponsor our program
And
and keep us
Goodwill.
from. Goodwill is
Mhm.
is the
They've
biggest,
been in from the very beginning.
very beginning.
They were one of the anchor.
They are, and we go out to see them every year. We talk to not only their GED students, but we also talk to their ESL students, and
Mhm.
so we bring out our programs and talk to them too.
So, Greg, you have done an incredible job with this, and I can't not thank you enough. And I just want everybody to understand the impact that you're having, not only in Wichita, not only in South Central Kansas, but across the state of Kansas, as you're out there in a very, very fun way, you know, helping kids understand and have an awareness, and also recruiting. Just like the young man I saw the other day that said, I saw the future maker,
Hmm.
and now I'm here.
Thank you.
I
That's
appreciate
our
you and
whole
your
goal.
team, everything that you do, and how you've grown this, and I mean this sincerely, far exceeded anything that Gail Getz and I put on a napkin, or far exceeded anything we could have done with it. So I
Hmm.
really thank you for doing it. Thanks
Thank
to
you.
you and your team. You guys are crazy busy, and you're on the road a lot, and I really appreciate your leadership.
Well, thank you very much. We're having a blast doing it. It is so much fun.
Thank you for tuning into Tech Talk with WSU Tech. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And until next time, stay connected and keep exploring the incredible work that's happening here at WSU Tech.